Veiled the story for us, Chriselda Lewis, who covered all the dealings with the police. A very good afternoon to you and welcome, Chriselda.
Thank you very much, Elvis.
Now, talk to me about this. Let's start with the officer in question. Any word on what's happening to him?
Well, that's right. We've just received word from the South African Police Service that he has been found after initially being on the run, and he has been served with the suspension letters. So he's officially been suspended pending this investigation into what seems to be a gross abuse of state vehicles at the Benoni police garage. So pending this investigation, he will no longer be reporting for duty.
How did you get word of this?
Well, we generally rely on communities, Elvis. We can't be in every single community, even though we would like to be. But we got a tip-off from one of the community members in Benoni who said this has been going on for quite a long time. So they were able to send us some video footage, the one that you saw of the red vehicle. Now, it's believed that that red vehicle belongs to one of the SABC officials at the dog unit in that area. So it clearly also demonstrates that some of the members of the South African Police Service are also using state vehicles for their own benefit. So once we received that, we followed up on the tip-off and really tested if indeed this was going to work. And as it were, we called one of the tow truck drivers. He responded very quickly to our requests for him to tow our vehicle, which we had said was stuck in the Benoni area. And within 5-10 minutes, he had pitched. We negotiated exactly how much we would pay. We asked him initially for him to tow us from Benoni to Auckland Park, which you would know is quite a distance.
Yes.
And he had initially said he was going to charge us about 6,000 Rand for that trip. So because we didn't have that much money in our possession at the time, we said to him he should just take us to one of the closest garages, and then we'd negotiate a price once we get there.
Now, surely the scope is much wider now. Are we likely to see more officers implicated in this particular scam?
Oh, well, certainly. What police have indicated at this stage is that a majority of the police officers at the Benoni police garage are under investigation, because you would understand that it's not as simple as just taking a tow truck out of the police garage and for it to go and do its duties. There's got to be somebody who's got to sign off if one of the vehicle leaves that particular area. So with regard to whether processes were followed, certainly somebody has got to take a rap for that as well, excluding now the officer who's been suspended. So we might see many other police officers face various charges across the board with regard to what happened at the Benoni police garage.
Do you see that this could even stretch further than just the Benoni area?
Well, certainly. I mean, the issue relating to the abuse of state vehicles really raises concern, because you don't just look at this particular incident, Elvis. I recall SABC News last year did a story about one of the police stations in the Germiston area, which was operating with one police vehicle. About 4 or 5 had been parked on the side of the police station and they'd not been working. Essentially, there'd been mechanical problems with them. So it speaks directly to that this tow truck, instead of coming to pick up our vehicle, which we had assumed, or rather told him, was having mechanical problems. Those tow trucks are meant to go and pick up those vehicles to beef up the resources that these police stations have, so that they're able to efficiently and effectively deal with issues of crime in South Africa. So it really speaks to the gross abuse of state vehicles, not only in this particular instance at the Benoni police garage, but in many other instances that we've come across.
Now, are you not fearing your life when you go into these situations and uncover these particular stories?
Elvis, it's part of our job to do so. You know, honestly, when I look at it from the perspective where we are, ours is to inform, educate and entertain.
Yes.
So part of that information is also to bring to light some of these transgressions. Not that there isn't good work that's been done within the South African Police Service, but you would recall the array of stories that we've covered over the past couple of weeks relating to police brutality and a host of other things where police are doing a good job. But what really does dent the image of the South African Police Service is elements such as this, where there isn't much that is a positive that is being said about the South African Police Service. But it's part of our job to do it. We cannot stop, I guess, on the basis that we're too scared to do it.
But doesn't this also relate to issues within the police service itself and their members, relating to socioeconomic conditions, low salaries and that sort of thing?
No, certainly. I think a broader debate needs to be had about this. I know President Jacob Zuma at the National Commemoration Day on Sunday at the Union Buildings spoke about the debate that South Africa needs to have about, where where police should draw the line, but also I think in this aspect where a debate needs to be had about, are police being treated the way that they're supposed to be treated? Some would be of the view, including the Institute for Security Studies, is that perhaps police are supposed to be among the highest paid people in South Africa on the basis that what they do is an essential service, would be in the case of nurses as well. So these are the people who allow us to sleep well at night, who make sure that you're able to sleep with your window open, I guess, if it's too hot. So essentially, I think that debate needs to be had. We've, on numerous occasions, when police have found themselves in situations like this, where they're found to be on the other side of the law, asked those in the positions of power whether they need to relook at salaries and the way that police in general are treated in South Africa.
Because it is an essential debate, isn't it?
Yes.
It's about the issues that's affecting the police, and as well the support that we as the public can give to them.
Yes.
Yes.
No,
now, particularly this particular story, let's just go back to it. Has this happened before, or is it an ongoing scam that has been happening within that particular area in Benoni?
Our source had initially brought the first visuals that you see, the one with the red car. Now, that car belongs to one of the officers, which was taken on a different day to the day that we actually set up this expose. So which indicates that it's not the first time that this has happened, that members of the South African Police Service in that area, while some of them have also been illegally benefiting from or abusing state vehicles, using these tow trucks to tow their own private vehicles from one point to the other, which shouldn't be the case. So clearly what police are saying at the moment is that they're looking into various other instances. Clearly the book needs to be produced to see if in previous instances where the vehicles at that particular station have gone, at what time, when they returned, and certainly after that investigation, that would shed much greater light on whether the scope of this investigation will see further police officers facing criminal charges.
Now, the contact person that you've reached with the tow truck, how did you get that number? Did you get it from the source, or how did you get in touch with him?
Well,
or did you call the local police station?
No, I did not. Part of the investigation certainly is to try and gather as much information. Well, first of all, to establish if any of the footage that we received is credible at all. So we managed to get a hold of some of our sources who forwarded us some of these numbers, and the first thing, as you would see in the package that we ran much earlier on in the week, where we had to make a telephone call to him first to see if he was willing to participate, to come and pick up our vehicle. And we asked him how much he would charge us, and at the time he had said to us that he would negotiate with us once we arrived, because obviously he would not want to shed too much information over the cell phone. So, which gave us a clear indication that we might have something. Once we got to the Benoni area, he was more than willing. In a matter of a few minutes, whatever it is that he was doing officially, he just dropped it and came straight to us and was willing to assist.
Chriselda, just a final question. So from there, did he tow you to the SABC? No, he took you to the local garage?
Well, we tried to suss out exactly how much he would charge us from the Benoni area to Auckland Park. And he said it would be plus minus 6,000 Rand. And obviously at that time, I did not have that much money on me to be able to pay him, because obviously what we needed to demonstrate also was the actual transaction, the fact that he was receiving the money. So given that we did not have sufficient with us, we decided that he tow us to the nearest garage, just to clearly demonstrate that the video that we were sent by our sources is a true reflection indeed of what is happening at the Benoni police garage, and that he towed our vehicle and was willing to take it to wherever we wanted to at, of course, a negotiated price.
Now, in the visuals that we saw earlier, we saw that the person that you were talking to was fairly threatening. If I can look at the screen, I'll just see some of the visuals earlier. How did you feel at that point in time? Was there a threat that you felt at that point in time?
Well, certainly I think under any circumstance, Elvis. Obviously, what you're seeing on your screen at the moment is him charging towards me after I told him that this was actually a recording and that what he was doing was illegal. He did charge towards me, but of course one of the reasons why we took him to the nearest garage was on the basis that rather be in a place where there is many people as possible, so that if there's any threat, there would be many people around who are able to assist us. So that really did work well for us, and when he saw that there was not much that he could do, you could see that he ran away.
Now, Chriselda Lewis is one of the people that we always see unveiling certain stories. Can we expect another expose like this shortly?
Well, there's a lot more, I think, that needs to be done, Albert. Certainly we'll be following this particular story. He's been suspended now. We've got to allow for the South African Police Service to continue with its processes. But, you know, certainly it raises serious questions about gross abuse of state vehicles. And we know that sometimes these resources are not enough to deal with issues relating to crime in South Africa. So the abuse of it, the South African Police Service says, can never be tolerated.
Chriselda, thank you so much for joining us here in studio.
Thank you, Albert.
That was our reporter, Chriselda Lewis, on the beat, looking for those stories.